where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers, with me is John Denton.
Yeah.
Over the next 40 minutes approx, John and I are going to take it in turns to go through the 10 games we've been playing over the past week until we make our way to the two number ones, which are the game we've been playing the most. That's it. John, go ahead.
Right. Sorry, a mosquito just tried to bite me. Number 10 is Darksiders 2, and the reason it's number 10 is because I put it in the drive and looked at it. However, I assumed that you've probably played it this week, and it's also an excuse to talk ever so slightly about the first game. So I can't really talk in depth about Darksiders 2 because I have done little more than press start. But I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. Have you been playing it? I'm assuming it's later in your list.
I will get to it later on, yeah.
We'll get to it later. So, yeah, I'm quite excited to play it. I didn't really like Darksiders 1 that much, but you know, in the past I've talked about how sometimes other people's opinions end up affecting mine after I've played the game. So I thought Darksiders was all right. I thought it was kind of Zelda for stupid people. Not for stupid people, but kind of a stupid Zelda. Like the puzzles weren't clever enough to be a Zelda game, but, you know, the effort was there. And I admired it for that. And then a lot of people went nuts for it, and that kind of made me dislike the game far more than was ever the game's fault. So that's something in my life I'm trying to improve on myself upon, because it's a poor way to live your life. And and as such, I'm excited to play Darksiders 2. So I guess we'll talk more about it later.
Indeed. All right, I'll leave it for then.
Right.
Okay, my number 10 is Avatar Falls Downstairs on the Xbox 360.
Oh my god,
I've still
indie game?
Yeah, I've still got these indie games that I'm trying to work my way through. At first glance, looks quite appealing. It uses the Xbox avatars, and it looks like Trials HD mini game, or like insurance fraud in Saints Row when you have to sort of ping pong off cars.
Yeah.
You fall down a staircase initially, but you check later on, and the levels get more and more complicated. They're like pinball tables. So the idea is you're meant to ping off stuff, collect all these bubbles, and get the most points, line up your shot, and get the ideal score. But you can't control your avatar. So they've built all these like zigzaggy platforms, and you're meant to bounce and sort of ricochet off stuff, but you can't move your avatar so you just let it fall off the top of the stairs and just hope.
Just hope.
It's pure luck. Unspeakably shit. But and also the music makes you feel like, well, it sounds like an insane asylum. It's worth downloading just to hear the music. It's like, you know, when you press, I think I've said it before, when you press a keyboard button and they make up the tune, sort of something basic, but everything's off key, everything's all wonky, and it's a horrible sound. But yeah, the game is just it's junk.
Do you think you're becoming the preeminent scholar on Xbox Live indie games?
Well, I may have played so many bad ones that I'm going to never touch it again, but maybe not. But I'll answer that later.
I think you've played more than anyone else in history.
I don't know. I found a site the other day, XBLIG.co.uk, and they've got a database of reviews and stuff. I was like, oh wow, I'm actually, if I play any more of them, I'm going to not randomly download stuff.
You're going to buy the site.
I'm going to go there, look at the highly recommended stuff, in addition to the stuff that I download because I like the title. But yeah, Avatar Falls Downstairs.
None of this is going to happen because all the games are coming out again next month.
That's a good point.
It'll fall by the wayside. Indeed. But I admire your endeavour.
Yeah. Noble.
My number 9 is not noble. It's many balls. It's fluid football. It's a game in a similar vein to New Star Soccer on the iPhone. And the reason I know it exists is because the guy who makes New Star Soccer keeps banging on about it on his feed, because he's a lovely chap who wants to spread the love and bring other people up with him, which is great. I didn't play it very much. It seems to be almost more like a real-time strategy football game. It's very strange. You kind of you have to pass it between your players. It's really difficult to describe, actually. It kind of goes top down like New Star Soccer, but instead of just dragging an arrow and you pass it to your mate or whatever, you have to score a goal by maybe doing 3 passes between your players, dragging the icon between things, and then when you drag it towards the goal, it will switch to, if you've ever played flick kick football,
No.
on the iPhone. That's more like you have the goal in front of you, and you sort of flick the screen and it kicks the ball, and you curl it around the wall. So it turns into that game basically. So when you shoot, it's a bit more of direct control. It seems cool. I couldn't quite wrap my head around it, and I didn't have time to give it probably the amount of consideration it deserves. But I'll check it out again this week because a lot of people seem to be saying it's pretty damn good.
Freebie?
Including that guy. I think it was free, actually. Yeah. I've had a crazy busy week, so I can't really remember anything that's happened, but I think it is free. I think there's maybe some in-app purchases. Yeah, there's in-app purchases to get later levels or something, but you can play plenty of it for free.
Okay.
So, yeah, people say it's good. It seems all right.
Okay. Before you explained how you came across it, I thought you just go into the App Store every day and type football in and see what comes up. All right.
I'm not you with indie games.
Okay. Yeah, good point. All right, my number 9 is Dead Trigger on the iPhone.
Yes.
As you said, it is the best, if not the best, then one of the best looking iOS games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's the best first person shooter I've ever played on a phone. But I'm kind of done with the whole idea of doing a first person shooter on a phone because they can never truly satisfy without proper controls.
No, they can't really.
They can't ramp up difficulty that involves you having to manoeuvre that screen quickly because it just falls on its arse. I mean, it's really nice. You know, there's a real sense of weight to the weapons. You feel like you're actually hitting those zombies. It looks incredible. They nicked COD's sort of crosshair within a crosshair, which has always sort of adds a bit of kick to you know when you know that you're sort of getting really, really good shots and stuff. It's about as good I think as an FPS can get on a phone. But you know once things start getting difficult as they do quite quickly, and you have to sort of shoot in all directions and move around, the phone doesn't. You can't. Phones aren't meant to house games like that. So I'm kind of done with the idea. It's the whole idea.
I am as well. It is one of those ones it's there to show off to mates, isn't it? Rather than
that's true.
Yeah, but playing it for a long period of time. Maybe some people do. Maybe if they only got an iPod Touch or something, and I don't know. Who knows? There's so many different ways, and kids are playing games these days. Yeah. It's confusing, but a novelty, a very, very admirable novelty.
Very well made. I mean, as I said, it's the best one I've played, and you can't fault it. It's the problem of the system itself.
Yeah, agreed. So what was that? Your number 9? Right. My number 8 is Gasket Ball. You say gasket, you don't say gasket, do you? And of course gasket. You don't, idiot. Gasket Ball. This is a game that I saw on Hookshot, I think. Kind of 2D robotic basketball game. It's kind of cool. It's all about getting this gasket. I don't fucking know what a gasket is, so I don't even know why I'm talking about that. Basically, it's basketball, and you flick this ball, and it has to go in the basket, but it quickly becomes like a physics-based, trajectory-based sort of puzzle game where you have to like flick it and bounce it off little ramps and bouncers to get it into the basket, and you get extra points if it doesn't hit the sides. You get a swish bonus, and it's quite a satisfying little number. It's on the iPad as opposed to the iPhone. It's another one where it's like free to play at first, and then you can pay to get the extra levels or whatever. But nice little game, really nice sound effects, and one of those games that has been designed well for the format. The exact opposite to Dead Trigger, perhaps in some ways, perfectly suited to the format, and makes the best out of what it has. Yeah, nice little game.
I'm not aware of any other games that are just on iPad and not iPhone as well.
I think there's a few, but they're escaping me right now. There's not many. This one would probably... I don't really see why you couldn't do it on the iPhone, if only for the fact that it's nice to have a bit of furniture and a bit of space, a bit of screen space for the game, so you can actually have enough room to play it. But it's certainly not a power issue because there's no 3D going on or anything. But there's not many. There are a couple that are just iPad exclusive, but I can't remember what they are. As always, bringing the knowledge.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, my number 8 is 2 games. Actually, I've cheated.
What?
I'm lumping them in together. It's the first one. They're both on the iPhone. First one is the End app. It's called The End, one word, but they keep calling it the End app. And Pitfall. The End app is another Temple Run ripoff. I've become fascinated by Temple Run ripoffs because the End app, which my girlfriend raves on about, it's the same as the other one, except you collect. I can't even remember what you collect. You look kind of like Hulk Hogan. Controls are tight. Yeah, I mean it looks really slick. It's another very, very effective Temple Run ripoff. But she also showed me another one. I forget what it was called, but all of those rip-offs, they've all got hundreds of user reviews, 5 stars, top in-app purchases, 5 stars in all these magazines. People love that shit so much.
Yeah, they do.
I don't understand it because, I mean, for a quick blast, 5 minutes, yeah, but I don't understand. I could never get compelled enough to continue and unlock later levels and all that stuff. But on the flip side, my girlfriend bought Pitfall, and I played it, and it's absolutely terrific. But that's because it's a mixture of Temple Run, but it intermittently sort of flips into more. It owes more of a debt to the iOS version of Mirror's Edge.
Okay.
Which I that's still my favourite iOS game of all time, Mirror's Edge. I love that game. So yeah, it's a bit more inventive with it, and there's I mean, it's just the contrast between that, which at the time hadn't been downloaded many times. It wasn't in the charts. I'm sure it will be because the name means something, and I think it's been quite heavily publicised. But yeah, the Pitfall, really fucking good. 69p, great, really great.
And the other one was called what?
It's called The End. It's called The End, one word. But on all the menus, it's The End app, and in the store, it's called The End app. And I'm just like, why? It's in games and stuff. But I mean, very good. But it's just another one. Whereas Pitfall does a bit more with it, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, I might check that out then. 69 penneth.
Yeah, Pitfall's good.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, that sounds alright.
Right.
Right, my number 7's a bit of a weird one. It's Gran Turismo 5 of all things, and the reason it's Gran Turismo 5 is because I was at Gamescom and I didn't actually play many games. I was there for other reasons, but one thing I did do was test out you and I aren't really into realistic racing games, are we?
Not really.
So we know nothing about racing wheels. I know nothing about racing wheels, and I kind of always assumed that racing wheels were quite basic things, and they were like that standard Xbox one that some people have cost like 50 quid or whatever. But I tried out this special type of racing wheel at this stand with Gran Turismo 5, and it was absolutely fucking incredible. I mean, I still couldn't drive because I don't know how to drive a real car, let alone a fucking sports car. But the thing, like the pedals, I think the pedals were rumbling. The thing had like genuine like tension to it. So, and you were sat in this seat that had, I think it had speakers in it, and maybe the seat rumbled. I can't even remember. But it felt like I was like having the pull and fight of actually driving a really fast car on a track, which was bizarre. It was like this whole world that I'd never really been aware of. Even though I've played arcade racing games in nice big cabs, where you've got a bit of force feedback, but the handling's so silly that it's just a bit of fun. This felt like I can completely see why people get into this now. I still don't think it's for me, but it kind of really opened my eyes to why people who are real enthusiasts get into these Forzas and Gran Turismos when they've got the money to splash on this sort of kit for their house as well.
Yeah.
Because it was completely different. I mean, it was like the software was the same, but comparing that to playing Gran Turismo 5 with a pad, they are different video games. They're just not the same thing at all. So, I mean, the kit was fucking amazing.
I remember. I quite like. I've never really understood Gran Turismo. It just seems so relentlessly realistic. Whereas Forza, I've actually quite enjoyed because there's a little bit of an arcadey element to it. But when I played Forza 4 last year at E3, and it had the 3 screens that connect if you turned your head, which I didn't really use because I still don't understand the point of that. But yeah, I was sat in a sort of a racing seat, and there was definitely rumble and sound.
It might have been the same company. There only seemed to be one in the whole fucking place that was doing them like that.
Was that the only thing that didn't have a queue?
Well, it was when that there's one day where there's no punters around, so nothing had a queue. But it certainly didn't have as much of a queue as everything else.
Yeah, I'm the same as that. Is this stuff that was not even released then? I mean, were they?
No,
games
I think it was out there. I think it was just their booth, just so kids could go and try it and people can go and talk to them and stuff like that. But it was just one of the things I went to go and see, and I was really impressed by, like I say, this whole new way of playing, which I still don't think will be a way that I play these games, but at least opened my eyes and I get it now.
Yeah, to be honest, if I could afford a setup like that, I'd play a lot more driving games.
I probably would. And just you could get a nice big space. It's not good. You don't have to move it. You leave it there. Nice telly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I needed to qualify what you said. What you said was perfectly fine on its own.
All right. Okay, my number 7. Yeah, my number 7 is a game called Quiet Please
This is the one you got excited about, isn't it?
Yes, I was, to be honest, getting to a point with the Xbox Live indie game space where I was like, I've done it. I'm like, I've just gone through the dregs and it's exhausting. But inevitably, I hit upon an absolute gem, and that's what this is. Quiet Please. First of all, I've been moaning for the last few weeks about how those indie game developers don't seem to have a system in place where they can choose when they ask people if they want to pay for the full game. But this one had one. About 2 minutes in, they're like, do you want to pay? And there's been a couple of instances when the games have been really good and I've read reviews and I knew it was going to be a quality 80 points, which is fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But I've still been like, The second it said, do you want to pay? Yes. If you have an Xbox, get it. 80 points. It's called Quiet Please. Honestly, just buy it. I'll keep spoilers to a minimum, but basically it's a really old school game. You're a little girl who comes home from school and all you want is some quiet. There's probably about, I'd say, 15 panels, so you walk from room to room. It's like an old Spectrum game. You walk from room to room, go upstairs, and there's probably about 12 screens.
Right.
The guy next door's mowing the lawn and his dog's barking. Your mum's pissing around in the kitchen. Your dad's watching TV. Your little brother's running around and there's cats going mental. You basically have all these problems. You have to find solutions for them. So it's just, it's probably 7 or 8 puzzles that you've got to solve. But they're really clever puzzles. It's unbelievably endearing. The little bit, there's not much dialogue, but it's so endearing, and honestly, it's the most charming game I've played in a long time. So, like your little brother, you have to try and settle him down and put him to bed. He hassles you when you're trying to do stuff, and you have to tickle him to get rid of him. And sometimes he'll pick up items that you need and run around. I mean, I just got a sense that this is made by a guy or a girl or a team who've, there's little bits of their own sort of family environment from the past in there, and it was just, I loved that. If someone tried to do a speed run, I bet you someone could complete it in less than a minute, but it's all about quality over quantity, and it's just, I mean, it took me about 45 minutes because my brain's rubbish at puzzles. But man, I absolutely loved it. It was 45 minutes. Even if it takes you 20 minutes to do, which is, you can probably do that on a first time if this is your bag. I mean, the puzzles aren't difficult, they're not taxing or anything, but what a lovely experience it was. I absolutely adored it, mate. I really did. It's also on Windows phones, and they're currently working on a port for iOS, but it's just a joy. It's pixel arty. It looks like Fez, basically.
Right.
And I do the trial at the very least.
Right, yeah, I will. I know I say I will, but this time I actually will.
It's so good. I was just like, this is what this fucking Xbox Live indie game is all about. That's what, I mean, that should be that should be on the front of the fucking dashboard, but unfortunately it's not. Yeah. But yeah, just an absolute joy. Honestly,
Shit.
Absolutely loved it.
Quiet Please.
Yes,
that's what it's called.
Oh, right. If you've got a Windows phone, it's also on that, and it'll be on iPhone soon.
Sweet.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Quiet Please. I've even written it on a piece of paper.
Do it.
How about that? So what's that? Number fucking 6?
7. That was my 7.
That was my 7. So my number 6 is Dust, an Elysian Tale. This was the last of the Summer of Arcade games, the one where all the furries have a fight. Have you seen it?
Oh, I've seen footage of it, yeah.
Yeah, the really, really handsome 2D brawler, like an old sort of Amiga game, it reminds me of. It's all right. Some people have gone nuts for it. It has quite nice, sort of moderately nice combat system with nice combos and launchers and things. There's a lot of like these weird furry creatures talking to each other and dialogue and stuff, and I was just like, ugh. You can skip it, but it's that speed you can skip where you can just kind of scan read it all, so you can take it all in, so you don't feel like you're cheating yourself out of whatever story they're trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So that was kind of good because the dialogue to listen to is just like, it just makes you want to skin yourself. But yeah, you kind of run through the backgrounds look amazing. The characters are a little bit cloying and annoying for me, but I guess they're all right. The combat's fine. It's like a really kind of dumbed down Beautiful Joe with none of the clever stuff, the slow-mo or any of that stuff from Beautiful Joe. Just plays like the dishwasher. Did you ever play that?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not as good as that either, but it is good. It's not just like Castle Crashers pressing a button. There's some depth to it. And there's some RPG elements too, so you can take quests off all these people and go and find things and find items and loot and craft things. But seemingly, you can just kind of just play through the game without having to worry about that stuff. You can do that stuff if you want. Maybe that's beneficial if you want to play it on harder difficulty. But seemingly you can just blast through, beat things up, fight a few bosses, see some nice backgrounds. It's fine. It is absolutely fine. It's not something to go nuts for, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I saw footage of it and I kind of thought there's something calculated about it. It's one of those games that looks like it was sort of designed by committee, and I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but playing it doesn't feel like that. Playing it, it feels more like a labour of love for people who love something that I don't love.
Oh, okay, fair play.
So yeah, it does. I know exactly what you mean, but it doesn't actually feel like that when you play it.
Okay, fair enough. I might have a look at it. I'll probably download the trial.
It's worth downloading the trial just because it really does look nice. Just like it's nice to be able to talk about parallax scrolling and stuff like that. You don't get to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like it's kind of how Amiga games looked in my mind when I was 10 years old, but they didn't actually look like this at all. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. A certain type of person might love it. People who love thinking about Saturday morning cartoons and wish they were a child, maybe.
The fact that you've mentioned Beautiful Joe, I've got to have a look at least.
Yeah, I mean,
I won't expect anything of that
based
level, but
comparison in terms of 2D and fighting things, but it's no Beautiful Joe.
What is?
Well, that's true.
I've completed that 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I don't know why I remember that. Considering I don't remember anything else. My number 6 is Transformers: Fall of Cybertron on the Xbox.
I heard this is good.
I haven't played that. This isn't the full game. A friend of mine is obsessed, and he's counting the days until it comes out because he loved the last one. I reviewed the last one for a magazine, and I admired it. It was a polished production. The mechanics worked great, but the monotony of it was literally that entire game was go here, loads of doors shut, kill everyone, doors open, move on, and repeat,
right.
And it just exhausted me. But this is the demo, which is out now. Actually, I think the game's out is it out this week? I think it's out this week.
I think it is, yeah.
But the demo's really generous. There's 2 campaign missions with 2 different Transformers. I don't know which ones. And there's 2 different modes in multiplayer. And me and a mate played because he's been on it all the time. And I said, if we can hook up on multiplayer, I'll have a look. And yeah, it's fine. I hadn't played the multiplayer on the last one, but this was. Yeah, it's fine. It's just Battlefield with Transformers, and it works very well. I mean, I'd never play it. I mean, but if you're obsessed with Transformers, as he is, you'll probably love it as much as he does, because there's real polish to it. But again, it is just capture the objectives, go from A to B. One of you can be a medic of sorts. It's just a Battlefield that's not as good. If you love,
Right.
if you're not obsessed with Battlefield yet, and you love Transformers, yeah. Knock yourself out. But I really did admire how generous the demo was with 2 different chunks and the multiplayer on there as well.
Yeah, that's pretty sizable.
They must be confident in it, and yeah, friends of mine are absolutely adoring it. So yeah, it might be quite big. That.
Yeah, I didn't really like the one that other people like. This one's called what? Fall of Cybertron.
Fall of Cybertron.
And that one was War for Cybertron.
That's right. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
And then there was the film tie-in in between, which I think was actually shit. But I didn't.
The film that tied in with the games.
The one the game that tied in with the 3rd film.
Oh, did they do? I didn't even know they did that.
Was that fucking Bad Moon Rising? I don't know what it's called. I don't know about Transformers, but yeah, I didn't really like the one before, which I've already forgotten if it's War or Fall of Cybertron. They shouldn't have called them the same thing.
No.
But yeah, I can see other people love it. It's fine.
It's fine. Can't force it. Polished, slick, good. Go knock yourself out. I won't be there, but go ahead.
Yeah, sweet. So my number 5 is FIFA 13. I said I didn't get to play many games at Gamescom, but I did get to play some FIFA 13, which is as we've said on a few times on this podcast already, shaping up fantastically.
In comparison to Pro Evo?
Yeah, I didn't play enough of it. I literally played like 2 games of it against random German, I think it was a German guy that just decided to come play me at a booth in Gamescom. I beat him twice, yes. But yeah, all the little touches were there. The new dribbling stuff I was starting to get my head around. The physics were better. Little random incidental animations were happening, which kind of added some colour and character to proceedings, which lacking from FIFA 12. The defending seems a lot better. It seems to make a lot more sense. Timing of the challenges.
Yeah, the tactical defending, I loved it, but it was just no matter what you're doing, you'll stick your leg out in FIFA 12. Whereas here, you know, if he's got his back to you and he's sort of trying to step around you, you just pull at his shirt. It's like it's context sensitive, and I was like, that's so good. I love that part of it.
So and I really enjoyed those games. I've really enjoyed playing Pro Evo. So as I've said, it's going to be a hell of a fight, and I'll play both extensively, I'm sure. It's gonna be damn good.
I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, a mate of mine earlier today rang me and said I've booked the day of FIFA's release off, so he's coming round here and we're going to do the old switcheroo all day.
Oh, nice.
So that should be fun. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Isn't it September
28th? Is it Friday the 28th? I think it's the 28th. Is that the Friday? Yes, it's one of those days in the late 20s.
I'm at your house that day, so we can do a triple switcheroo.
Oh, are you? Why?
Yeah, you're a gamer, innit?
Oh, of course. Fuck. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Triple switch.
All right,
triple switch. Watch out for us.
All right. Yeah. Beware.
Right. Yeah. Enough just normal conversations. So yeah, FIFA is good, isn't it?
It is exceptionally. I'm can't wait.
Yes.
Okay. Well, my number 5 is Hybrid on the Xbox 360.
Oh, that's my number 4.
Is it really?
Yes.
Have you got the full game?
Yeah.
Oh, have you? No, I've only got the fucking demo.
No, I got the full game because I wrote a review which may or may not be up on the website yet, so I shan't say in case it's not. But I was asked to review it for someone.
It's really. I mean, I tell you, everyone I know who's touched it had the same reaction during the tutorial. I was just like, no, not interested. Can't be bothered. Just something about it really left me cold. But as soon as you get into a game, and I like the model, the demo model where they give you an hour of multiplayer for free. I thought that was really neat. So I think I've probably maxed that out now. But yeah, it's won me around really quite quickly. And I think, again, if me and my friends weren't completely obsessed with Battlefield, this would be a really good substitute. I like the fact that it's 3v3. And yeah, it's teamwork's important. I quite like the map design, even though they were small and sort of symmetrical. I really. What did you reckon?
I liked. At first, I was kind of bewildered by it because obviously it's cover only, isn't it? You have to be in cover, and if you're not, you're flying to another cover point.
Yeah.
So you can move and kind of swoop up and down and strafe, but you can't walk around like any other game ever. You're basically in cover the whole time. And after I got my head around that, I was like, oh yeah, this is quite cool. It's nicely animated. The guns feel nice. The flow of the combat's quite nice. And then after a good chunk of games, I was just like, I think they've seen it all. What I wrote in my review is that as you get better at a game like Battlefield, or it applies to Halo or any great online shooter, the whole game changes as you get better because you start to learn all these new tactics and different ways of playing, and it feels like you're playing a different game almost after a certain amount of hours. But this game didn't feel like it was changing at all because the maps are so small and they feel exactly the same. And the way they're structured in a loop, so you're constantly looking behind you and getting shot from behind. Not in an annoying spawn way, just in the way that that's the way it's set up. But it also means there's no front line, there's no like skirmishes that occur. It just feels like the same thing the whole time. You're flying out, you shoot the guys, you either shoot them or you don't, and then you'll get behind a wall with your teammates and have a bit of a ruck, throw some grenades, and then it's just that on a loop, and it's not quite strong enough to sustain itself, but it's kind of an admirable effort, and I like the fact it's different. And the other thing I said in my review was that had it come out at a time where this genre was still in kind of a bit more of an experimental phase, where it's quite stuck in its ways now, I think it would have got more of an audience and maybe been able to blossom into something else in a sequel. But now I fear it will just be forgotten because it's not good enough straight off the bat. And it's kind of harsh because it works well, there's no lag, its connectivity is good, there's this overarching meta game which doesn't really make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
Make any sense. But there's a lot to admire, but ultimately it just... nothing else was happening for me. The more I played it, I was like, okay, every game just feels the same. I'm having the same fights in these small maps, in the same angles every time. And Yeah, that's it really.
My impression was based on probably about 45 to 50 minutes of gameplay, and I really did start to warm to it. My girlfriend had a Raz as well, and she really liked it. I like the simplicity of it, and I kept being in scenarios where I got beaten by another team of 3 who really were on the ball, and that always impresses me. That always makes me want to convince my friends to get it and see if we can get up to that level. Just using the space correctly, basically keeping them boxed in. It was irritating because we were getting our asses handed to us, but it didn't feel like they were breaking the game. It just felt like they were being really savvy, and I like the upgrade.
That is about it, though. Unfortunately, that's it.
So I like the upgrade system. I like the fact that 1 kill you get a droid, 2 kills you get another droid, 3 kills you get that ninja droid.
Ninja, yeah.
I thought that was quite cool. The only thing is, I said to my friends, I was like, man, if we didn't have Battlefield, I'd insist we get this. But I don't think, not at this stage anyway, I don't think I'd buy a downloadable game that's completely dependent on having a community, because you never know. You really never know how long people are going to be playing it for.
It's very true.
But yeah, I was impressed, but I didn't play it for very long, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good effort.
It is. I was really warmed to it. So from that initial tutorial of thinking I can't be bothered with this to being as enthusiastic as I was, I thought it was it was good shit.
Yeah, good effort. So that was my number 4 as well. So I guess we're back to you.
What was your number 5? Have you done your number 5?
Oh, for number. Yeah, it was FIFA.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sorry, because you started, didn't you? Okay, right. My number 4. This is a complete long shot, but has there been any how long have you known me?
12 years.
Has any game over the last few months released and you've thought, this is a total long shot? Have you thought there's a game that game? No one that I've ever met in my life would ever buy that apart from me.
As in me? You or me?
No, me.
No, I'm so tired. That question's so confusing.
Okay, no, sorry. It was a completely idiotic long shot. My number 4, I got. I had a really shit day at work. I plonked myself on the couch. I had a couple of hours free, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to buy Expendables 2, the video game.
Oh right, yeah, I should have actually guessed that.
The whole thing about me finding action games. Enjoying tackling the faults of action games as much as the obstacles that the developers laid out. That all started with. Do you remember The Last Action Hero on the SNES?
Yeah.
When that came out, it had the Nintendo magazine that I read. I think it was the official one. I can't remember. They gave it the lowest score in the history of the magazine. And I
remember that happening. Yeah.
I was obsessed with Schwarzenegger. I was like, "There's no way. I bet it's amazing." And that was back then when they used to review import copies, and there was a date months in advance. And then by the time it came out, obviously all those reviews had hit, and no one stocked it. I had to travel around like a nutcase trying to find a copy of it. And I eventually found a shop that rented it on the other side of the fucking planet. And I just started playing it. It was a shit game. It was broken, but finding a way around those breaks is something that I still do today. That's why I give, Never Dead, I've said before, Call of Juarez, The Cartel. There are breaks in the game. There are things that the developers have missed or fucked up with, but there are ways around them. And I enjoy, great action games are about problem solving anyway. And I don't care these days whether that problem was put in front of me by a developer's skill or by his incompetence. So when I saw, and the other thing is, there's 2 things that I'm a sucker for, and I don't know if I'll ever shake them. Games with peripherals. If a game's got I saw Tony Hawk Ride in HMV the other day. I almost bought it. I'm like, it can't be all bad. It's got that fucking skateboard. Honestly, that's something I think I'll take that to my grave. And the other thing is movie licenses. I always think, it can't be all bad. Despite the fact that there's more chance of you fucking. The chance of you finding a good movie tie-in is. I don't even know. How.
It's GoldenEye. That's it.
That's it. That is it. Is it it? No. You've got.
There's a few others, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The World Is Not Enough. That's underrated as fuck. But anyway, I saw all the bad reviews, and I just thought, it's a shooter. I'm going to really enjoy it. I'll get the most out of it. I like that kind of game anyway, and I bet you I like it despite the fact that everyone else hates it. So I forked out 1,200 Microsoft points for it. But I started the game. I opened it up, and my girlfriend came in and said, "What?" Because as soon as the menu came on, I went, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
Honestly, the menu screen. I've been researching earlier today, trying to figure out who developed it. You can't find out. It's impossible. That information doesn't exist. I've gone everywhere. There's all these threads online asking these indie developers if they developed it, because it was probably developed for a pittance by somebody who's more accustomed to developing for the Xbox Live indie game space. I've seen better looking games on there. Then it's shocking. But the first thing that happens is there's this really bad fire effect on the title, and it comes up saying press A, and the A button graphic looks like they cut and pasted it from a website that didn't even have the official rights to the Microsoft A button, and it's all sort of pixelated, and I was just like, oh. But anyway, you've probably seen what the game looks like. It's one of those 4-player, you run and gun. Everything is upgradable. Everything about the game is upgradable. So when you start, you've got about 5 bullets in your magazine. You spray them around everywhere because you've got no accuracy, and then you spend 3 seconds reloading, and then you do rinse and repeat. You can't see where your bullets are going, so you don't know if you're hitting anybody. When you do hit someone, the animation for them being hit, you can't even tell really that they're being hit. Enemies are bullet sponges. Some enemies are really difficult to defeat. Some enemies go down like bowling pins, but you can't tell the difference because they're all animated in exactly the same way. Needless to say, the upgrade I never want to understand how long it takes to upgrade one character. You're supposed to upgrade all 4, but in the 2 hours that I spent playing it, I got one upload.
It's longer than the film.
I know. I got one upgrade point for the Jet Li character. Incidentally, the Jet Li character, I'm going to try and find on YouTube so I can put at the end of this podcast, whoever voiced the Jet Li character. I mean, it might be spectacularly racist. It sounds like a really, really gruff old man trying to do an impression of, what's that mouse with the sombrero hat?
Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah, honestly, there's an element of Speedy Gonzales to his voice, and I'm just like, is this the most racist thing ever? They give him hardly any dialogue, so you can't quite put your finger on it. But anyway, it's one of those horrible. I can't remember the last time I played a game this terrible. There's bits of it where you're supposed to all walk through like an army, shooting everyone and just mowing them down and walking through. There's other bits where you're supposed to use cover and stop, and you die sometimes. Even after all the time I played it, I don't know what the health bar was. The health bar, it looks like, I kept saying, but I just died and I had full health. And then another time you'll walk in and you don't die, because sometimes you're meant to use cover, and the cover blends into the background. So you're walking through all these indistinct landscapes thinking you're supposed to march through, and you die, and you're like, oh, obviously I was meant to use cover. And you see a little mound, and you're like, oh, I was supposed to sit there and just gun at them from cover. And some scenarios you have to clear all of the enemies out before you can progress, and other scenarios, if you don't move through, they spawn forever. So you never know what the fuck you're doing. Sometimes you're sitting there trying to take them all out and they just endlessly respawn. Sometimes you go in and die straight away and it takes you back to the last checkpoint. Honestly, I saw that Eurogamer gave it a 2 out of 10. That's the most generous score in the world. I can't remember the last time I played a game this fundamentally fucking terrible. Games like this, I didn't think games like this got made anymore.
Amazing.
No, honestly, you've no idea how bad it is. It's so terrible.
I can't believe you spent £1,200.
Please don't. When I think about that, I can't believe what I've done.
This is the man who wouldn't spend 1,200 points on Spelunky.
Please,
still won't.
Please. But honestly, I thought there'd be something. There'd be a little something that made it worthwhile in some way. But it's so painful. I mean, I was playing it and I was grimacing. I was like, what am I doing with my fucking life? There's another bit where they try to mix it up on the second level where it's like you've got the reticule and you're flying in a helicopter. And you're like, that can't be bad, can it? How can you fuck up that? They fuck it up. You can't see your bullets. Your gun overheats in about 2 seconds. You can't see what you're hitting, and you keep getting hit by stuff. And Jet Li's there going, bah, 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 don't. Honestly, I never want to talk about that game ever again. I've already deleted it off my hard drive. 12,000 points.
12,000.
12,000. Honestly, I think if anything's going to put a fucking nail in the coffin of my obsession with movie licenses, this is it. Jesus Christ! Don't even. Oh God!
Maybe you needed it to finally kill that off.
If I just tried the trial, I'd have known. but I had to just go, yeah, fuck it, 1,200 points. I know it's going to be good. Oh, God.
Sounds like an ordeal poisoning. You know that thing that they do in some cultures where they take a poison that's so bad it nearly kills you, but the ordeal is so awful that when you come through the other side and you get your health back, you've had like a life-changing experience and it puts you on a different path.
That's the best way to look at it. And I hope that something like that's true. But honestly, my friends take the piss out of me because I'm a bit of a sucker for shit action games. I can't believe how bad this is. And the fact that Ubisoft have hidden the identity of whoever developed it. I mean, there's something admirable about that, because part of me wants to go and hunt him down and, give him a fucking really good slap about the face. But I think it's because they probably farmed it out to someone who was very cheap. Probably one guy. It wouldn't surprise me if it was developed by one bloke. But I'm going to try and find some dialogue to put at the end of the podcast of Jet Li, because it's spectacularly inappropriate. I never want to talk about the game. Let's forget about it ever existed.
My cheeks are hurting now from listening to you talk about that. I was laughing so much. Right, so, crikey, yeah, that's taken out of me. My number 3 is Tekken Tag Tournament 2. 4 Ts in a row, which I played at Gamescom quite a lot. And it's very good. It's 2-on-2 Tekken. It seems that the creators of Tekken have finally just accepted the fact that it's completely ridiculous and just kind of almost turned it into a comedy.
Didn't they always know that? I always found myself laughing at Tekken.
Yeah, they've just gone all out now. They've gone, yeah, this is just funny. And like all the background's absolutely ridiculous. There's one where you're fighting on a boat and this fucking dreadful techno comes in. They know it's shit, and there's this guy in like a kilt dancing in the background on the bow of this boat. It's faster than any Tekken's been. The sound effects are superb. Like the impact and the block sound effects are great. It's really nice, actually. Yeah, it's playing really nicely. Tekken is... I got bored of Tekken, and they seem to have turned a corner again and made it kind of feels like its own thing again. It kind of feels separate from everything else. It doesn't feel like it used to. It is faster and snappier, and I'd need to play a hell of a lot more to really put my finger on exactly what it is that they're doing. But it's the most fun Tekken's been in a long time, and kind of reminded me of how fun Tekken used to be, even though it doesn't play quite like those old Tekkens, if that makes any sense. Yeah. But the 2-on-2 stuff seems fine. It's more just about switching out when one guy's nearly dead. There are tag moves, but it's not... I don't think it's as fundamental as they are in Street Fighter Cross Tekken or some other tag games. It's more just about those standard Tekken combos, some air juggles, and you can beat someone down real quick as well. And there's like 50 characters, shitloads of so much customization options. You can come in just holding a fish for no reason. They've done a good job. I've now got a copy at home as well, so I'll be playing more of that, I think.
It's a funny one. Tekken did what Mortal Kombat did, where it went off on these weird tangents with all those single-player adventure games and stuff, and all those stupid bells and whistles that didn't need to be there. So that's good. If they've gone back to basics, that's fucking great.
Yeah, but kind of new, improved basics, like taking what was there and tightening it all up and not worrying about. And it just doesn't feel like they're worrying about what the world thinks anymore. They're just having a laugh.
Okay, that sounds really encouraging, actually.
Yeah. I think we'll play it and have fun.
Cool.
Should it come to it, or have a good old session on that.
Nice one. Okay, my number 3 is Battlefield 3.
Of course it is.
Looking forward to the maps next month. The only thing I'll say is that my friend bought a 3-month-long server, and it's getting to the point where there are so many servers that it's almost impossible to fill them up. It's really unclear to me, because sometimes 3 of us join and we're playing not the whole night. We sit in there for an hour, and sometimes if you race, you let 2 people get the objectives just so it goes to another round and another map, then you see people flood into the server, and other times that doesn't happen. So there's just a bit... I feel bad for my mate, because he's paid for something that he's not getting. And on the few occasions when people start joining, and it's quite a slow process, we have to sort of treat it with kid gloves almost. So we're like, should we let him run out and let him kill you? Let him get, arm the objective and all that stuff, just because we don't want them to fucking leave. Because as soon as they leave, and then which is a stupid situation. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about Battlefield.
Yeah, I haven't played it for a little while, but I will when the maps come out.
Yeah. Did you hear about the August content drop?
No?
The premium content drop.
What's that?
Pictures.
Sweet.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not one to get pissed off because I think we're getting what we're paying for anyway. But just don't bother having something.
Don't even talk about it. Just say there's some pictures that we found.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Papo-Yo.
Oh wow! Yeah.
PlayStation 3 indie game.
Yeah.
Indie game. I guess it is. So you know about it, I assume.
Yes.
What you said. So if those who don't, I think it's set in Venezuela. I'm not sure, but you play as a little boy called Kiko something, and he runs around these like favela type backgrounds, and it's in a kind of weird dream where he can manipulate the world around him in specific ways. So he'll run up to a building and it will have an outline of gears on it, and he'll press against it, and like a whole house will lift up and turn into a bridge, or he can sort of twist a key and it will turn, shift the environment and move it up and down, like in Inception, when the world turns on itself. Yeah. And that's in Inception. Really cool effects, and it looks really, really nice for a download game. And then he has his friend who's a monster, a big monster who loves to eat coconuts and falls asleep. And you can jump on his tummy and bounce off him to get to higher areas. But if he eats a frog, he goes nuts and tries to kill you. And you have to calm him down by giving him some poison water. And the whole thing is this rather heavy-handed, but still quite skillfully done allegory for the creator and his relationship with his father, hence the name, which just means dad and me. It outlines the fact that it is allegorical quite ostentatiously at the beginning. It basically says like to I can't remember what it says, I'm paraphrasing now, but it's basically like this is to my sisters for all that we suffered through, or something like that. And there's some dark stuff in there. It's not difficult to read between the lines because it's not even between the lines, it's fairly obvious. Occasionally it will drift off into this dreamlike, even more dreamlike scenario involving a car, and maybe someone got knocked down or something like that. I don't know. I'm not far enough into it yet, which could be completely autobiographical. Again, I'm not sure, but it's not perfect by any means. It has some real glitchy problems at times. Dealing with the monster can be a pain in the arse, but it's one of those games I'm prepared to forgive because A, I like games that are about something, even if they're a bit too heavy-handed in saying, look, I'm about something. And B, I like the puzzles. Some people have likened it to a game like Dear Esther, where you just kind of walk through it, but like you, I'm a bit stupid when it comes to puzzles. So I've had to use my brain a fair bit and had some satisfaction in working out the puzzles a few times. And it's got a really odd and unique charm to it that doesn't feel like or look like anything else. Weirdly, I tell you what's really weird, it reminds me of Shadows of the Damned, and it's not because of the way it plays, it's not because of the way it looks, it's not because of the humour, it's nothing about it, apart from just ever so small things in the way things sound and move. There's one bit where a thing turns into a centipede, and it has a curly thing on top of its head like that weird sushi fish in Shadows of the Damned. For some reason it just kept reminding me of Shadows of the Damned. I don't know why, but that's just purely a personal thing. It's nothing like it, and I shouldn't have even brought it up really. But I like the game. I'll definitely play through it and see what I think at the end. I like it at the moment, but it might fall apart yet. But it's not. It's nowhere near as complete or as like easy to recommend and easy to enjoy as something like Journey. It's definitely a game with issues. Is it actually developed by Sony in-house as well? No, I think it's by a Venezuelan guy, and I think maybe he's got backing from Sony. But it feels oddly sketchy for something that they've got behind, because those games are indie in spirit often, but they're not. They feel so polished, like that game company games and the other stuff they put on PSN. Whereas this does feel a bit more like you download it from Steam for £5 and you go, okay, well, that bit's fucked. I've fallen through the building there, but whatever. There's some nice ideas here. It feels more like that, but I like it. How much is it? It's £12, so it's not cheap. That was the other kicker. It's quite expensive. I decided to just suck it up in the end and thought, I want to see what it's all about, and that's still a third of the price of a normal game. So
it's really it's one of those games where the critical reaction is so varied that I'm instantly drawn to it.
Well, there is a trial that lasts a decent amount of time, which is what I did. I got the trial and then chose to pay after. It's a good 40 minutes of trial, so I definitely recommend checking that out.
Oh, okay, I think I might do that. That sounds really interesting. There's something about Sony releasing downloadable games. I'm listening, basically. If it's somehow, because if it's...
That's the thing they've done best, I think, this generation.
Yes. Yes, I'll probably agree with that. I'm going to look into that. Okay, right, my number 2 is Sleeping Dogs.
Which is my number 1.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's do it, because my number 1's Darksiders 2. So.
Oh, okay. Cool. Which is my number 10. There's some sort of magical palindrome. Sleeping Dogs. Do you like it? I like it.
Really like it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so fun.
It's I've seen some people on Twitter saying, being quite belligerent about the fact that they think it's better than GTA. I don't.
No.
But I would be approaching the same level, not the same level of enthusiasm, but I'd be almost, doing backflips for it if I hadn't come straight from Saints Row the Third. Almost literally, when I finished Saints Row the Third, the next game, aside from Darksiders, which is very different, was Sleeping Dogs. But I'm massively impressed with it. If you're looking for a stopgap before the next Grand Theft Auto, this is a brilliant. That's going to fill that time brilliantly.
Yes.
I said in my review, when I reviewed it, I said it's like a high-end Steven Seagal movie because the plot is rubbish. It's not rubbish. It's just it's so filled with contrivances and coincidences. I was just kind of laughing at it, but it's kind of, you admire the spirit of it, the kind of forceful kind of.
It's quite entertaining.
Yes.
Anyway, isn't it?
It is.
You want to see what happens, even if it. I kept forgiving it its contrivances because it didn't even feel like there was anything to forgive. It was just kind of... Yeah.
That's why I described it like a Steven Seagal movie. I'm just like, I totally enjoy watching stuff like that.
Yeah.
When it's got the courage of its convictions and it's kind of, it's clearly driven.
And a few good scenes as well, like, that were actually quite good.
You can put that down to good casting, though. The money they spent on the acting talent was well spent. Because
the main guy's good, isn't he?
Yes, he is good. He is.
Yeah, he's just some guy. He's been in some TV shows and stuff. I looked him up, but... Yeah, he's good.
But they had Emma Stone and Tom Wilkinson, and it's just you get what you pay for when the dialogue is as decent as it. It's not amazing by any stretch, but they elevate it, and that's always worth paying for. But the game is just fun. It's
damn good fun.
Yeah.
Well, what I wrote in my review is I kind of use this as the thread of my review, is that it's a genre piece. I mean, some people have slated the game, not slated it, but like said, all right, it's not that good because it's so derivative. And I said, well, it's less that it's derivative. It's more that it's just there's this established genre. It's been around a while. This is the way it's done. And it's like, well, we're going to fit exactly in that template, but make every single element of it, the familiar elements that we're going to make them all as fun as we possibly can. Yeah. So combat's banging, the driving's great fun. The movement around the world's great. The shooting's even fun, and even a little bit of Vanquish in there when you're diving over the cover and it goes into slow motion.
Yeah, that's cool.
You drive around and you pull out a gun on your motorbike and the game goes into slow motion. You can shoot tyres out. It takes 3 seconds. Why? Well, how could you possibly ever do that? Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's more fun this way.
Yeah.
That seemed to be the whole attitude to certainly the story missions of the game. All 30 of them, every single one of them had a bunch of crazy stuff happening in them. The way it flowed between the different action types was really good, and they didn't seem to let anything get in the way of just having some fun without ever going into extreme Saints Row parody or pastiche even. It was just balls out fun, and some quite cool side stuff in there as well. Nice to realise city, bit choppy, but
I thought I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool place to be, that city. The only time that I didn't was when you're on the road. There are so few cars on the road.
There really are. It felt like a computer game space.
It reminded me of The Getaway. It felt like you were driving around ghost sort of streets half the time, and that was
apparently the PC version looks incredible and has like loads and loads of detail and loads of cars on the street and stuff.
Oh, wow.
It's just there's only so much they can do, because at times it looks amazing, like when it's raining and like the neon of the cities going off, and I thought walking around the streets was really impressive. All the NPCs, they like some of the stuff they're doing is really detailed, and they seem to be people having actual conversations and things. And I kept being amazed at how detailed it was, because it's like, damn, this must have cost a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. The one last thing I wanted to address is a lot of people have talked about, Activision made a mistake there. Still don't think they did.
It wasn't this game back then, was it?
No, but even if it turned out to be this good, I still don't think it'll ever do the numbers of what they wanted their open world franchise to do. They want another game that's going to be as big as COD, and it was never going to be that. It's a much better fit where it is. So everyone's a winner in the end. Activision, it wouldn't have worked out for them. They would have got the game that's going to sell whatever it sells, a few million, and they'd have closed the studio. Now, hopefully, they'll get to make a sequel or do whatever they do next. Everybody makes some money on that end. They made a good game, and Activision get to go and do their thing. So, yeah. Just because a game gets to number one doesn't mean that it necessarily would have been a good business decision for them to keep it on.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, for sure. But yeah, I was mighty impressed. The one thing that I mentioned, again, when I reviewed it, is I said that rarely in any kind of action game do you feel endangered. And some of those missions, when you're on the one side, you're befriending those gangland people, and then you've got to bug them the next time from the police, and you're sitting there, and those mini games felt like an absolutely perfect balancing act. They were easy enough to understand, but hard to master. And you were given enough time to do stuff. But when you're trying to fucking put what the fuck, like a grill back on when you've planted a bug somewhere and they're next door chatting about coming in, I was genuinely on the edge of my seat. And that doesn't happen in action games. It really doesn't. So
especially when you know rationally that if you fail, all you're going to do is get kicked back
and do it again.
Seconds and do it again.
Exactly. But that's what when that happens in a film, there is a certain degree of other things could happen. But in the game, go back to the checkpoint, do it again. And for that scenario, that's exactly what I said. I was on the edge of my seat, and how the fact that they managed to pull that off is incredible. Yeah,
I thought that that's sort of testament to the credit of their characterization, and in fact that the writing is decent. It's decent enough to sustain that illusion. It's creating an illusion, isn't it?
But if the minigames were a little too easy, or if they gave you a bit too much time, that wouldn't have worked. It felt so perfectly tuned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting to be as impressed as I was. What a cool game, man. I mean,
it's just so fun from beginning to end. The last mission is just fucking gleaming. It's absolutely superb. It is. You look at GTA 4's last mission, which is a fucking nightmare, and GTA 4 does so many things better than Sleeping Dogs ever do, because it's just the amount of detail in there is like mind-boggling. I had a conversation about it the other day, which is like, it's fucking hell, I could write a whole essay on it. But just in terms of pure missions, I think Sleeping Dogs actually has it beaten. Even though most of the missions are kind of lifts from the GTA style, they're so fun. There's one with a shotgun where you're just ploughing forward and blasting guys and vaulting over cover, and it's just so fucking fun.
The one thing I didn't think the world of. I mean, I love the fighting because I love dragging people into the environment and
chucking them on a meat hook.
Exactly. That's the other thing. That's the other reason I kept thinking of Steven Seagal films, because they set up rules. They're like, this is the level of violence. So when you're in one of those situations and you do stuff like that, you're like, ooh. It's like when you see in a Steven Seagal movie and there's just a bit of violence, just purely there to make it, oh fuck, like that's much. Not in a bad way. That's part of the That's part of the enjoyment of it. But there were bits like when you impale a guy on a cactus, and you're like, whoa, that's a little bit much.
You shove their face into like a air conditioner, like just slices their face off, and you're like, whoa. But I'm the worst cop ever.
That's why I really liked it, though. I like the fact that it makes the rules and it kind of it pisses around with them a little bit. But yeah, what an impressive little game. You're winning if you pick that up.
You are. I must apologise if you heard a bang over the microphone. Then the mosquito came back, a call back from the beginning of the episode. So I apologise there.
Did you kill it?
No, he's still going, but I won't bang again. I'll take the bite.
Okay. Why don't you just eat him? That'll be a bit quieter.
Unfortunately, I'm not a frog.
Okay. Okay. Right. My number one is Darksiders 2.
Another callback. Double callback.
Yes. Darksiders 2. I mean, I like Darksiders quite a bit. I didn't go nuts for it, but I think a lot of people that went nuts for it have shut themselves away from Nintendo products, so they don't play Zelda games, which means they don't know how high that genre can rise. I enjoyed Darksiders 1, but Darksiders 2 just completely pisses on it. I did the first 4 hours at a preview event a few weeks ago, and I did those again. And you and I know enough about how games are made to be able to do our jobs properly. But the one thing that I'm always curious about is how the trajectory of a game's development mirrors where, so does the game start at the beginning when they're developing it and then they get to the end? Because around the 5 or 6 hour mark, it just goes a little bit hell for leather. It seems as if they stopped caring, or they were on a mission to make the best game that they can. There's something a little bit reckless about it, and it's brilliant. It's like it flies. After that opening tier, when it's like, oh, this is good, they've added the looting and they've done this, and it's after you sort of done the opening few hours, it just flies. The puzzles are more inventive. It reminded me of Uncharted 2 also, in that Uncharted 2 you play through and you never see another environment again.
Yeah,
they never reuse it just because that's easy. They take you on this journey through all these environments, and it's like that. It feels like a richer experience because of it. I got that same feeling here. It's slightly audacious. They do things that you never. I mean, that's why I said the trajectory of the development, because it feels like after a certain point they found out about THQ's financial troubles, and someone either said, we've got to make the best game we possibly can, or just go and fucking do. Because there are moments. There's a bit. It's not a twist as such. I've seen it given away in some reviews, but I'm not going to say what it is. But there's a narrative. The narrative does something quite audacious, and it actually ends up forcing the gameplay into a bit of a corner, which is a shame. But I was just like, I'm so glad that they felt they could do something this off the wall. And it's filled with moments like that. It feels really, really like. I mean, I hate to assume that it's because they know about how much was riding on this project, because a lot is riding on it still. But it feels like they were just letting their hair down and just trying to deliver the best possible game that they can. And honestly, it's terrific. It really is terrific. I mean, it's not reaching Nintendo levels because those games take half a decade to make. But man, it was just a joy. Again, I mean, it was so much fun. It's just fun constantly. There's not a bum note in it. It's just, people have said it's Prince of Persia crossed with God of War crossed with Zelda, and it is those things, and it is derivative. But the best thing I can say about it is that despite all of its influences, there were moments when I was like, this feels fresh, and that's amazing.
Yeah,
all that, just that verve, and there's just zest about everything. It's genuinely terrific. Honestly, Darksiders 2 is special. Are you actually going to play through it?
Yeah, definitely going to play through it.
It's a pleasure, real pleasure.
Yeah, I kind of got myself worked up a little bit about it when I started reading the reviews, and I was like, I like to play all the big games anyway, professionally speaking, just to be up on everything. But yeah, something about it where. I went and bought it and everything, so it's exciting to go and do that whole retail thing sometimes and take it home, read the manual, not that there's a fucking manual, and there's still a little bit of a stopgap before the game season, so should be enough time to play through it, and I'm excited, and that's just listening to you just made me 10 times more excited now.
It's I wasn't expecting to. It's one of those games that doesn't. It feels like this was what the first Darksiders was supposed to be. There's something, again, I can't. It feels kind of lazy to say, to assume about what the circumstances were of the game's development, but it just comes alive. It just comes alive after that opening. And it just, I compared it to Uncharted 2 again, because it doesn't stop. It's one of those relentlessly pleasurable games. It's special. Honestly, it is actually special, and I didn't expect that from a sequel to a THQ platformer.
Yeah,
if you can call it a platformer, I suppose.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, adventure, whatever.
Yeah, you won't go wrong if you're going to get stuck into it.
Yeah, well, I will. I shall.
Genuine.
Because of that. So, thank you for listening. I must apologise for missing a week there. Unfortunately, with me going to Gamescom and everything else that happened, we couldn't quite fit it in. So apologies there. But fear not, back on the weekly schedule going forward. Check us out at thefiniteplaylist.com. Follow us on Twitter. It's always worth doing. Listen to us on Stitcher, because we just still don't know what it is. And subscribe on iTunes. Leave a review. Don't leave a review. There's so many ways to interact with us. They're the only ways, but they're all good. So thank you very much for listening. And I'll tell you what, the mosquito did bite me. So I did that for you.
Go and buy the Expendables 2.
In-country rules, guys. Stay quiet, stay low, and keep your eyes open. And the Albatross is running on fumes. Now we're gonna need to find some fuel if we're gonna get out of here. Let's move. Stay tight.
Man, this is one sad-ass country. When was the last time we went to a happy place?
And I admired it for that, and then a lot of people went nuts for it, and that kind of made me dislike the game far more than was ever the game's fault. So that's something in my life I'm trying to improve on myself upon, because it's a poor way to live your life. And and as such, I'm excited to play Darksiders 2. So I guess we'll talk more about it later.
Indeed. All right, I'll leave it for then.
Right.
Okay, my number 10 is Avatar Falls Downstairs on the Xbox 360.
Oh my god, indie game?
Yeah, I've still got these indie games that I'm trying to work my way through. At first glance, looks quite appealing. It uses the Xbox avatars, and it looks like Trials HD mini game, or like insurance fraud in Saints Row, when you have to sort of ping pong off cars.
Yeah.
You fall down a staircase initially, but you check later on, and the levels get more and more complicated. They're like pinball tables. So the idea is you're meant to ping off stuff, collect all these bubbles, and get the most points, line up your shot, and get the ideal score. But you can't control your avatar. So they've built all these like zigzaggy platforms, and you're meant to bounce and sort of ricochet off stuff, but you can't move your avatar so you just let it fall off the top of the stairs and just hope.
Just hope.
It's pure luck. Unspeakably shit. But and also the music makes you feel like, well, it sounds like an insane asylum. It's worth downloading just to hear the music. It's like, you know, when you press, I think I've said it before, when you press a keyboard button and they make up the tune.
Where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers, with me is John Denton.
Yeah.
Over the next 40 minutes approx, John and I are going to take it in turns to go through the 10 games we've been playing over the past week until we make our way to the two number ones, which are the game we've been playing the most. That's it. John, go ahead.
Right. Sorry, a mosquito just tried to bite me. Number 10 is Darksiders 2, and the reason it's number 10 is because I put it in the drive and looked at it. However, I assumed that you've probably played it this week, and it's also an excuse to talk ever so slightly about the first game. So I can't really talk in depth about Darksiders 2 because I have done little more than press start. But I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. Have you been playing it? I'm assuming it's later in your list.
I will get to it later on, yeah.
We'll get to it later. So, I'm quite excited to play it. I didn't really like Darksiders 1 that much, but you know, in the past I've talked about how sometimes other people's opinions end up affecting mine after I've played the game. So I thought Darksiders was all right. I thought it was kind of Zelda for stupid people. Not for stupid people, kind of a stupid Zelda. Like the puzzles weren't clever enough to be a Zelda game, but the effort was there.
Doing sort of something basic, but everything's off key, everything's all wonky, and it's a horrible sound. But yeah, the game is just it's junk.
Do you think you're becoming the preeminent scholar on Xbox Live indie games?
Well, I may have played so many bad ones that I'm going to never touch it again, but maybe not. But I'll answer that later.
I think you've played more than anyone else in history.
I don't know. I found a site the other day, xblig.co.uk, and they've got a database of reviews and stuff. I was like, oh well, I'm actually, if I play any more of them, I'm going to not randomly download stuff.
You're going to buy the site.
I'm going to go there, look at the highly recommended stuff, in addition to the stuff that I download because I like the title. But yeah, Avatar falls downstairs.
None of this is going to happen because all the games are coming out again next month.
That's a good point.
It'll fall by the wayside. Indeed. But I admire your endeavour.
Yeah. Noble.
My number 9 is not noble. It's many balls. It's fluid football. It's a game in a similar vein to New Star Soccer on the iPhone. And the reason I know it exists is because the guy who makes New Star Soccer keeps banging on about it on his feed because he's a lovely chap who wants to spread the love and bring other people up with him, which is great. I didn't play it very much. It seems to be almost more like a real-time strategy football game. It's very strange. You kind of you have to pass it between your players. It's really difficult to describe, actually. It kind of goes top down like New Star Soccer, but instead of just dragging an arrow and you pass it to your mate or whatever, you have to score
quickly because it just falls on its arse. I mean, it's really nice. There's a real sense of weight to the weapons. You feel like you're actually hitting those zombies. It looks incredible. They nicked COD's sort of crosshair within a crosshair, which has always sort of adds a bit of kick to when you know that you're sort of getting really, really good shots and stuff. Yeah. It's about as good, I think, as an FPS can get on a phone. But once things start getting difficult, as they do quite quickly, and you have to sort of shoot in all directions and move around, the phone doesn't. You can't. Phones aren't meant to house games like that. So I'm kind of done with the idea. It's the whole idea.
I am as well. It is one of those ones that it's there to show off to mates, isn't it? Rather than
that's true.
Yeah, but playing it for a long period of time. Maybe some people do. Maybe if they only got an iPod Touch or something, and I don't know. Who knows? There's so many different ways, and kids are playing games these days. Yeah. It's confusing, but a novelty, a very, very admirable novelty.
Very well made. I mean, as I said, it's the best one I've played, and you can't fault it. It's the problem of the system itself.
Yeah, agreed. So what was that? Your number 9? Right. My number 8 is gasket ball. You say gasket, you don't say gasket, do you? And of course you don't, idiot. Gasket ball. This is a game that I saw on Hookshot, I think. Kind of 2D robotic basketball game. It's kind of cool. It's all about getting this gasket. I don't fucking know what a gasket is. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. Basically, it's basketball, and you flick this ball, and it has to go in the goal by maybe doing 3 passes between your players, dragging the icon between things, and then when you drag it towards the goal, it will switch to, have you ever played flick kick football?
No.
On the iPhone? That's more like you have the goal in front of you, and you sort of flick the screen, and it kicks the ball, and you curl it around the wall. So it turns into that game, basically. So when you shoot, it's a bit more of direct control. It seems cool. I couldn't quite wrap my head around it, and I didn't have time to give it probably the amount of consideration it deserves. But I'll check it out again this week because a lot of people seem to be saying it's pretty damn good.
Freebie?
Including that guy. I think it was free, actually. Yeah. I've had a crazy busy week, so I can't really remember anything that's happened, but I think it is free. I think there's maybe some in-app purchases. Yeah, there's in-app purchases to get later levels or something, but you can play plenty of it for free.
Okay.
So, people say it's good. It seems all right.
Okay. Before you explained how you came across it, I thought you just go into the App Store every day and type football in and see what comes up. All right.
I'm not you with indie games.
Okay. Good point. All right, my number 9 is Dead Trigger on the iPhone.
Yes.
As you said, it is the best, if not the best, then one of the best looking iOS games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's the best first person shooter I've ever played on a phone. But I'm kind of done with the whole idea of doing a first person shooter on a phone because they can never truly satisfy without proper controls.
No, they can't really.
They can't ramp up difficulty that involves you having to maneuver that screen